Oh, we got who? We got Drew. We got Leo Pond. We're all sitting here wondering where Jar Jar's at this time this week. We're going to have Fred Van Lente. And Leo's not going to be paying attention for part of the show because he's going to be putting something together with Jar Jar. Yay!
Yeah, just reminded me. Holy crap. Hey, welcome to Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you as always. And why am I telling you this right now? But we're going to play the intro as long as I can find the button. But anyway.
Start the damn show.
Is the one obvious thing.
Woohoo! Okay, you know what? Whatever I said earlier, that's my spiel. Here we go. Carrie!
Hey, everybody, how's it going? Hey, Tom Dog. It's Tuesday night. It's Splash Pages. I've got an alcoholic squirrel. He's indulging again and again and again, which is what I wish I could be doing, but I really shouldn't. So, yeah, that's all I got today.
Drew, what the hell? What are you doing?
Wish that was alcohol. But it's important to stay hydrated, kids. Hi, everybody. Welcome at Splash Pages. It's Tuesday. If you thought it was Wednesday, like I thought for a millisecond, check your calendar. It's your friend. We have a great guest. We have a lot of news, and we're all here. So I hope everybody is staying warm and you've got that cider ready because let's go.
Yeah, speaking of staying warm, it was a cold one today.
It's getting frosty, but the thing that I enjoy about that is that it's cold and then these still warmish days are just kind of sneaking in. So it's like you're bundled up and then you're hating yourself later. So like this weekend, it's supposed to be back in the 70s for like one day.
Yeah, and we're getting a freeze warning tonight. So yeah, we had to turn the heat on.
Oh boy, heat.
We have a combination freeze warning and fire warning going right now because we're not freeze, but frost warning and fire advisor because we're dry and cold, apparently.
It doesn't make any dry.
Can't light a fire.
No, I got it.
Backyard with because it'll burn.
No, I got it. It took me a second. I was like,
guess it'd be cold and dry. But so, how cold is it getting for you guys? Like, what's the weather like out there that you had to turn the heat on to?
40. What is it, Leo? 45, 30 something.
It was 45 when I woke up this morning. So freeze warning is going to be in the low 30s tonight.
Yeah. So. Oh. Yeah, I know, and that's and it's funny because when I was younger, I remember like Halloween used to be warm enough that you could walk. Now, like, there's been some cold ones, man. You kind of like it sucks, but you kind of understand why parents are doing the what I call the drive and trick. You know, pull up, kid runs out, trick or treat. Next.
They're called trunk and treat. Well, they have trunk and treats over here.
Oh, right. Trunk and
Yeah.
treat. Okay.
Matter of fact, about 10 years ago, they were having one in Mystic, and there was like a ice storm, which like canceled. Yeah, it was a mess.
You can't cancel Halloween because Halloween's in your heart. Right. Wait. In your heart. That's my lungs. So, anatomy. But
Yeah.
that's what happens when you learn anatomy while playing Operation. You know, fun fact. So, we have a great guest on, but our guest is coming on a little later. So we should probably get the news done so then we can focus all on him because he's got a lot on his career, Mr. Fred Van Lente. So it's not a lot news. So I don't know. Do you guys just want to literally flip it onto the newsy things?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, news. Variant Watch. Hey, everybody. Wonderful. So, starting up, just because you didn't think it was going to happen enough, we are seeing that this December, we are getting a brand new Venom. Someone who's not Eddie Brock, who's not his son. No idea who it is. So writer Al Ewing is going to be spinning the new saga. You're going to have this nuanced series with superstar artist Carlos Gomez. This will be in December 4th. You're going to see this happening. So the synopsis says, the smiling, swashbuckling spider hero New York loves to hate, to love is back. And more fun-loving than ever. It's Venom. A new host is taking the symbiote in a whole new direction, but who? Could be the journalist, the terrorist, the sidekick, or even the mayor. We're giving you all the clues, good believers, but you won't know until the mask comes off. So to commemorate that, we have, of course, a slew of variant covers. You're going to see Adam Kubert, Humberto Ramos, Scon, Stephen Platt, Eric Larson, Chris Caruso, plus also a gold foil cover by Ivan Coelho. The first part of Giuseppe Camicoli's Connecting Cover series. There'll also be a special Marvel versus Capcom variant cover and a lot more. That's my favorite. I love Chris Caruso's work.
Is that?
Yeah.
I thought Chris Caruso. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's Chris Caruso. You can always tell him and Scotty just have a very easily distinct style. So,
yeah.
But love him. But yeah, so you have a smattering of beautiful talent. That's the Capcom cover. We've already seen that when we covered those. That's I think the gold foil cover.
Yeah.
No, that's just the insignia. The second cover was the gold foil cover.
Oh, okay, never mind then. But that's still nice. But point being, either way.
This one I love. I absolutely love this.
That's a wraparound.
Yeah, that's Humberto Ramos. Mm-hmm. You can always, it's always about how he draws teeth and faces and anatomy. Yeah, so that's out December 4th. If you're a Venom fan, and I know there's a ton of you, check it out, see where we're going to take our boy, and hopefully, yet again, another new Venom. So.
Wow.
I'd be interested because it's Al Ewing.
Well, yeah. I don't know. At this point, I just feel like I'm on Leo's side. I was like, I don't kind of care because I feel like, again, it's changed. It always goes back to Eddie Brock.
Well, speaking of Eddie Brock, when the new movie's coming out soon, right?
Is it? You're talking Venom Horse?
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I don't even know. I know it's.
Have you heard the current rumors?
No.
So again, total rumors, but they're saying Tobey Maguire is going to be playing Null. No, that can't be right.
No. That
There
can't be
was
right.
there was something about Toby Maguire coming back. Yeah, Knowles. Yeah, Knowles. They already announced who Knowles was.
Yeah,
I forgot
Leo.
what.
Leo, if you're gonna get Leo, I've learned this in school. If you're gonna get the rumor right, you need to make sure you get your info right. Okay, because then you're just gonna be spinning wheels, and then you're gonna have those people going off on that shit, and you're just gonna create anarchy. Okay, absolute mother flipping anarchy.
Yeah.
And
The other big rumor was at the end with Eddie Brock dying, that this symbiote would then
Spoiler.
find Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then that would lead into Secret Wars.
we
Again,
needed to.
total rumors. So
You know what? We will see. So that was that. But to conclude the point, that was it for Variant Watch. So let's be like Huey
There's
Lewis and get to the news.
there's
Q.
something about Secret Wars though. I just need to say it because like I was looking, everything wants to be Secret Wars. I tried to use an AI thing the other day to give me some inspiration of different research things for stuff, and I was like, oh, give me some comic stuff for this, and it was like every single thing. I didn't even mention Marvel, and it was just like, oh, and Secret Wars and Secret Wars and Secret Wars and Secret Wars, and I'm like, I didn't ask for anything to do with Secret Wars. Why does it just feed me Secret Wars? I tried like multiple different algorithms, and they all came up with Secret Wars every time. Everybody, even the machines want Secret Wars. Is what I've determined. So
It's
that
the
was
Matrix.
my, yeah.
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 All right, so Carrie is clearly already done. She's already done with it. She's like, I don't care. Like RDJ's Doom, I don't care. Carrie, you just like all Marvel fans, you'll care a little when there's a trailer. Right now, it's all speculation and gossip. Isn't that right? Lunchroom Leo.
Yeah. We did get an Invincible teaser today, though.
Yeah, that's season 3, right?
Yep.
I still need to catch up.
Yeah,
but
it comes in February, I think.
Okay. All right. Well, I do know that we've got a bit of news, and I also know that it's a lot of weird news. So let's not delay the inevitable. Yeah, it's a weird news. Yeah.
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains fly under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News. Your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's comic news.
Drew's News. Yay.
All right. I get to be first. Okay, guys. Woo! Coming November 6th from Boom Studios, we have a new book that is being written by Abria Iyengar, who is known for their web series and tabletop role-playing game on Critical Role and Dimension 20, along with webcomic artist Marie Costa from Life of Melody, with colorist Angel de Santiago and letterer G. Campbell, a book called The Fade. What's happening here is in The Fade, a viral internet sensation has tons of people claiming to have crossed into a realm called the Fade in their dreams. Jeannie, a college freshman, and her friend Arno are interested to see what's on the other side. There's some mirror mythology going on. There are tales of quests, prophecies, and danger. We don't know what's going to happen there, but we do know this is going to be a fun and fantastical coming-of-age story. The covers that we had up there were... Okay, that is Stephanie Hans.
Yeah, they're easy for me to read. Do you want me to go over the R's? Yeah.
I haven't written...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
both
the
are
same. And then there's Veronica Fish. And then the first one was by Marie Costa. So
there you go.
Yeah, and I really like the Stephanie Hans one. I think that's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's just gorgeous artwork. So, all right. So that is The Fade. Make sure you go and check it out on November 6th.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Boom is always good like that. Um,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, what's next?
Let
Do,
me
do,
pull
do,
up.
do, 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 do,
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
do, 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 do.
Well, almost, almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Wait. Dun, 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 dun. You can go now, Leo. Dun, dun, dun,
Look at
Uh,
dun.
that.
okay, so uh, can you believe it's been 10 years since Star Wars #1 came out in
I
2015? Well,
can't.
almost 10 years. Yeah. I that's another one. I think I bought like it had to be like 8 copies or something of it.
And
Uh,
and
oh, go.
and that was Jason Aaron and now the late great John Cassidy. They Star Wars issue 1. That was both of them. That was
Yeah,
their
that
run.
such the first one was such an awesome run. I mean, so anyway, Marvel is bringing us back for celebration for January for
Mm-hmm.
its releasing Star Wars: A New Hope Legacy, or A New Legacy #1. And it's a one shot packed with new stories from some of the biggest names in Star Wars comics over the last decade. So, this is all to honor the 10th anniversary of Star Wars #1 in 2015. Not to be confused of the original run from Marvel back in like 77 and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the comic features stories by heavy hitters like Charles Soule, Jason Aaron, Kieran Gillian, bringing back some of the iconic characters who made their debut
Mm-hmm.
with Marvel. So the issue is going to have everything that us Star Wars fans could totally ask for. First up, we've got a thrilling story with Charles Soule and artist Ramon Rosanas, where the Empire's top brass, including Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin, gather on Alderaan to honor the Emperor. But what's a party without some chaos? Doc Afra and Santa Staros are about to pull off a daring heist. So, with Valance hot on their trail, and if that's not enough, a Sith artifact must crash the whole event. So, expect appearances from Darth Mammon, Commander Zahara, and Togs, and more.
And
Next, oh, sorry, go for it.
don't forget Chanaf Cha and Rick Dul. They're
Okay.
also, those are all comic. All of you mentioned are characters that originated from comics. They were not. They don't have live action counterparts
Yep.
yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Kind of like well, we'll get into it in the third story.
Of course.
So the next story is going to be Jason Aaron taking us back to Scar Squadron. So it's the elite stormtroopers. They're known as Task Force 99, if you remember that. So it's led by Sergeant Krell, and those guys were one of the deadliest threats to the rebellion during Aaron's run. And we'll find out where their path has led. So Aaron is teaming up with Leonard Kirk to tell their story. And of course, Kieran Gillen couldn't stay away from the dark side for too long. He's returning with a story set in the legendary Darth Vader run, which that was also another amazing run. Like Darth Vader's, him talking to Jabba, that was just friggin' amazing in the beginning of it anyway. So featuring a breakout star Doc Afra. So taking dangerous games between Afra's old Triple O, BT1, and Kurzenstan, which is the Wookiee, which we saw in, I think, the Boba Fett show.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah. So he started off in the comic and then ended up in Boba Fett.
Nice.
Yeah, Salva Espin joins Gillian on this one. And next, actually, yeah, that's all of it. So January 29th, you definitely don't want to miss this one.
And then look at you also have the beautiful covers. I mean, you had the first one, you have Steve McNiven, that's fantastic. The second one is, of course, the always great. Well, that's Kyle Holtz, who is a fantastic horror illustrator, but his work is just gorgeous. And then the last one, that is, of course, the always great Lionel Francis Yu. So can't wait, man. When is this coming out? Is this this year or next year?
Next year, January 29th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome stuff for Star Wars.
So you're getting that, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just okay. Calm down. Relax. Okay, calm down. No need to yell. All right. What's next? Oh yes. So, um, prolific writer John Michael Straczynski has done so much for the Marvel Universe. Amazing Spider-Man, Thor, Fantastic Four, and more. So this January, as we know, Straczynski has been working with Marvel. He's been on Captain America right now. So he's literally following whatever the hell he wants to do next. Is he's doing a new line of standalone one-shots that'll co-star two Marvel icons of his choosing. So it's either going to be a team up or a showdown. So think like when Jonathan Hickman and Sanford Greene did Doom, or when it's just like, oh, this is random. These one shots, you have a fucking fantastic bullpen of talent. Will Robinson, Bernard Chan, Elena Casagrande, Jermaine Peralta, Juan Ferreira, and of course Phil Noto. So starting off will be, Leo, if you could go to Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon, please. Thank you. Dr. Doom does the one thing he never wants to do, asking for a favor. So the question is, what the hell could Rocket Raccoon want in Latveria? So you're going to get a lot of mischief, miscommunication, and an emotional journey across time and space. So what? And then the other one is going to be a team up between, thank you, Volstagg, who is one of the Warriors 3 in Thor's Asgard, recruiting Captain America, aka the Sons of the Liberty, for Straczynski and Bernard Chang's Captain America and Volstagg, where a war breaks out in the Nine Realms. Volstagg turns to the only man skilled enough to end it, Steve Rogers. So those are the first two. We will also get, as we've seen there, Nick Fury and Fing Fang Foom, Hulk and Doctor Strange, which will also include a backup story starring Aunt May and Agatha Harkness. Okay. Ghost Rider versus Galactus. That's going to be
sounds like fun.
Oh my God, the penance stare alone. And Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus.
That's not a strange matchup.
No. So, but fine. So you're going to see all of these eventually on a special promo piece that, of course, is going to be done by the great Lionel Francis Yu, guys everywhere. These will also be available as variant covers for Dr. Doom Rocket issue 1, along with the covers for the first 3 other one-shots. These will be premiering, I would say, yeah, this is starting, I think, January. So if you like anything that you're seeing here, everybody, I don't know, tell your LCS.
I want to see Rocket drinking with Doom, man. That'd be cool.
Yeah, right.
I like Doom.
It's good. It's interesting. I'm sorry. The Aunt May and Agatha Harkness. I'm like, yes, that's going to be great.
Sorry.
It wasn't Agatha all along. Stop it.
No. I was gonna say with Rocket, drinking with Dr. Doom.
He's gonna steal them.
Same mask, different flask.
Yep, 100%. All right. So what's next?
More bad jokes from me.
Oh, every day.
Every day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up is hey, it's more Spider Boy.
Yeah. That's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on.
Yeah, I know. Well, so Hulk, yeah. So next month, Spider Boy number 13 is bringing a new character to Marvel. Hulk. Brand new character to the Marvel Universe. So if you've been keeping up with Marvel's new Champions variant covers, you've seen this pint-sized powerhouse before, created by artist Mirka Andolfo for sensational She-Hulk number 1's variant cover. Hulkette may be small, but trust me, she's bringing some serious Hulk-level strength to the table. And now, thanks to writer Dan Slott and artist Paco Medina, Hulkette's officially making her in-canon debut in Spider-Man number 13. Sorry, Spider-Boy number 13. On sale November 27th. So the issue, Hulkette's first showdown, is with Spider-Boy himself. And that's not just the beginning. Future issues will dive into her mysterious origin story, and we'll get to see just how powerful she really is. And for those of you eager for more Hulkette action, keep your eyes peeled for the upcoming New Champions ongoing series, where she'll be teaming up with other new teen heroes, changing the Marvel Universe as we know it. So Dan Slott has had some cool things to say about introducing Hulkette, teasing that we'll meet her trainer, Enormo, during Spider-Boy and Spider-Girl's big adventure in Madripoor. And of course, there's a showdown in the works between Hulkette, Spider-Boy, and even Daredevil, and a big secret behind her origins. So it sounds like Marvel's going to bring us for a wild ride. And yeah, that's coming end of November.
Okay. We'll see.
Can you check the picture right before that in the news? I want to make sure I got everything loaded. Okay, that didn't work right. Never mind. One of my images didn't load. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What's
Great.
next?
Sorry, everybody.
Carrie, it's doing fine. You're doing great. You did wonderful, hon.
Okay, next up, looks like Carrie's up next.
Oh, of course she is.
That was what I thought it was. Okay. I thought I had them out of order. I'm just high tonight. Well, not really. That made me better. So, James Tynion the Fourth. More news. Get excited. Get ready. You're gonna go nuts if you're me or like me, which I know there are some of you like me, because otherwise he wouldn't be nearly this crazy busy and amazingly sold out everywhere all the time. Okay, so James Tynion the Fourth, along with his long-term friend Rebecca Taylor, who is currently working at Inklore, which is an imprint of Random House Worlds at Penguin Random House subsidiary, the Random House Publishing Company Group, formed in 2023. They are going to take over the world, or at least try. As Boom Studios, one of the publishers that Tynion has been working with for many years, is currently also being acquired by Random House, they've decided to put together a 12-book deal under the imprint Inklore for James, one of the true masters of the horror comic book world. We're going to be getting 12 original graphic novels. They're going to be set in 3 different series. And you're going to have to wait a while, though, guys. The first one that is scheduled to be released is going to be in 2028. So we've got a while for this. It's going to be part of a 3-volume series, and it's called The Most Beautiful People Who Never Loved Me. There's very little information being released about it yet, other than it's about a stage magician who performs in an unorthodox fashion in order to bring greatness into his performance, but nothing comes without a price. So he's just going to leave us hanging on that for a couple of years now. So be ready and read all of his other shit, because there is so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
He's just got all the new Nice House by the Lake, or well, Nice House by the Sea is out, and that's tying in with the Nice House by the Lake, and it's getting really good. All of his stuff, guys. There's so much. Get out there and get yourself Tynion up, prepped, ready to go for this, so you know what to do. Okay, fine.
It's fine. No. I'm very. I mean, listen, Carrie.
I'm like, paint your fingernails black and go crazy.
I just want to say I look forward to when you get to meet him, because he is one of the most pleasant creators ever. And I know, I mean, Leo, I'm just telling you right now, you haven't lived till you've seen Carrie squeak. Like, it is fucking funny, man.
You've seen me squeak on here before. I guess it's not as much as in
no,
public.
but in person, no. In person, it's even funnier. Like, I mean, come on, it was. We saw enough of that at Terrificon.
Leo, you're muted.
Yep.
All right. Well, Carrie, James very rarely disappoints, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he has come up, especially since that's 3 series. So pretty cool. What's next, Leo?
Okay, you're up next, Drew.
Oh, great. Yes, Frank Miller. So We've already seen Frank Miller is still very much involved in comics. While he's working on returning to Sin City in the Sin City prequel, he's doing a bunch of Marvel covers for a various amount of titles. But you wouldn't expect him to tackle a young adult fantasy series. He's done one or two in the past, but it's not really something you think Frank Miller. You think Dark Knight Returns, you think Daredevil, Born Again. But this is his new series called Pandora, which is co-written by Frank and then Star Trek Discovery writer Anthony Marinville and Chris Silvestri, while Emma Kubert, the artist for Inkblot, is going to be illustrating it. So the synopsis is the main character, which I assume is that redheaded young lady there. Annabeth is a endlessly curious 15-year-old, unpopular at school, unhappy in life, and struggling to feel like she belongs. But everything changes when she stumbles across a flower-shaped relic with the power to warp reality. Determined to change her dissatisfying everyday life, she uses her newfound powers to transform the world around her, but as she does, she sows the seeds of impending chaos in her wake. So this graphic novel is going to be collecting all 6 issues of the series, along with bonus material, concept art, making of material, and variant covers by Miller, Andy Kubert, and Theresa Kubert. So this Pandora's Box, wrong Pandora. Frank Miller's Pandora, book 1, is going to be available at bookstores October 8th. So technically it's already out, and is already out on October 9th, and it's at $24.99. So again, I understand that, technically this has already been in stores, but like I said, everybody, Frank Miller doesn't really do this kind of stuff, so we wanted to cover that. So, hey, check it out. See if Frank still got it.
Now, is this I know last year they were talking about not Frank Miller, but somebody that was working with him. I can't remember who it was. That he was going to his books are going to be physical copies only. Do we know if this is going to be physical as well, or
Yeah.
just?
It's available at bookstores, so it would be physical copy.
No, I mean only physical. I'm assuming not digital.
I'm probably going to assume it's going to be physical only.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, again, listen, Frank still has, I'm sure, some good stuff up his sleeve. So I mean, it's worth checking out. Sometimes, I mean, Neil Gaiman did young adult, and he did pretty well. So other writers do young adult all the time. So why not?
Yeah, it's definitely a large market.
Indeed.
It is available on Kindle.
Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. All right.
So you can get that for $12 for Kindle currently, or $24.99 for the hardcover.
Very nice. So I feel like we're winding down. So what do we have left, Leo?
Yeah, 2 stories left. I believe Carrie is next.
Oh yeah, this looks great.
Yes. Okay, this is coming to us on January 15th, 2025. Coming up here, we are being gifted with a new series by Rick Remender and Paul Azaceta, with colorist Mateo Lopez, through Image Comics. This is called The Seasons, and it's going to be an ongoing fantasy horror book. The story centers around 4 siblings who are named after their seasons by their remarkably non-creative parents, who were the famous seasoned detectives before they vanished mysteriously. The sisters are now being preyed upon, and they must band together to save themselves from an unspeakable fate. Let's hope that they managed to become close enough to each other whilst they were raising themselves in the absence of their parents to overcome the nastiness that is coming after them. And we have some great covers here. I think that was the we do have a little bit of artwork as well. That was Wes Craig.
Nice.
Before that is Kent Williams.
Oh wow.
I like that one. That's pretty badass. This is before that's a tribute to
Miyazaki?
Kiki's Delivery. Isn't it Kiki's Delivery Service?
Yes.
Okay. That's by Jordi Lefebvre, and the original is Jorge Not Jorge, Paul Azaceta.
Nice. That
So
one's very
yeah,
spooky.
yeah, and so I find it slightly unoriginal that they name them, winter, spring, summer, and autumn as their names, but they do work as names, and it's you got to have some sort of play on everything. But
Mhm.
these seasoned detectives were these seasons detectives, and there we go. So missing parents who are world famous detectives, and now horrible things coming to get the children, and it looks spooky as shit, like drawn
Yeah.
really, really well.
I'm
So I'm I'm looking forward to checking this out.
I'm sorry, Carrie. I feel like anytime something like horribly spooky just shows up, that's just my brain's like, Carrie. Like, you know,
Yeah,
you're our literary Elvira, Spooky and weird and everything. Like, Carrie. Hellboy? No, that's me.
yeah.
That's
You've
me.
only
I'm back.
gotten one thing so far that's actually freaked me out the whole time I've been here. So he asked me, he's like, "Do clowns bother you?" No.
Well,
All right, I got a
listen,
story for you.
I don't know. I don't want to scare you. Everyone's got their triggers. I mean, it's like I wouldn't assign myself a story about spiders. I'd be like, nope, nope, no, 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 no.
But you're a Spider-Man fan.
You know what? Listen, Leo, I didn't say it made sense. Okay, a lot of things in life are illogical and just asinine. So, but we're not here to debate. We can debate after we're done with the news.
We
But which means I'm the last one. And speaking of debate, Zootopia. So, comic book publisher Dynamite Entertainment announced that Disney's Zootopia will have an ongoing comic series that is set after the events of the 2016 film that is going to be releasing January 2025, which is months, literally almost half of the year, before Zootopia 2 will be in theaters on November 26th. So the book is looking like a police procedural following Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde on their biggest case yet. So essentially, the synopsis is it's another beautiful day in Zootopia, and one of the most successful among the Zootopian pack is Trib Zebrando, an owner of the PB&J cell phone companies. Their tech devices are the can't miss gadget for every citizen in Zootopia, and they're about to launch their flagship model with a big event. Everything, of course, is going awry because someone has it out for the company, set to sabotage the event and the company by bringing down the whole house right on the crowd. This is the case that Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde are rushing to keep the peace, contain the chaos, and investigate. So while they're doing their thing, the discoveries of this isolated incident will lead them down to their biggest case since, of course, the disgraced downfall of Deputy Mayor Bellwether. So the writer will be Jeff Parker, who we know we've seen his work on Future Quest. He's also done New 52 Aquaman, Marvel's Thunderbolts, Dynamite's King's Watch. And the artist is Alessandro Rinaldi. He did Dynamite's Hercules series and then the Disney Villains Hades one shot. So, yeah, they said that the artwork is going to be great. I mean, the variant covers look fantastic. And it's just Jeff and Alessandro really worked to get the spirit right, to get the voices really down. They said that it just has so much potential for more crime-solving animal adventures. And this series will see a new case every month leading up to Zootopia 2, which, as we've seen, will have Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde teaming up to crack a case involving the creepy, slithery, highly venomous viper whose name is Gary, who is voiced by Loki's Ke Huy Quan, which I'm excited about because I actually forgot that this was happening. So awesome. I love this movie. And yeah, this is on sale January 2025. So try everything. But that's it. So I think that's the news. And good job, everybody. Nicely done.
Woo!
Yay!
We did it. We did
Well,
news in
We did
45
it.
minutes. I
yeah.
know.
And give me 1 second. I'll be right
Take,
back.
hey, take your time. No problem.
All right. So
Hey, Carrie.
yeah, How you doing?
I'm very excited that we have our guest on tonight. I've been a fan of his work for quite a while, and yeah, I'm just super pumped. Uh, you know, so that's basically it. I'm just very excited to talk to him, and I'm probably gonna fanboy a bit. So I'm gonna take the heat off of you, fangirl. So hope that's okay. Um,
So there's saying there that same way, love Spidey but hate all spiders. I I've gotten to where I can tolerate some spiders, so I'm not that. But the tick, is there anybody out there who actually likes ticks besides the tick? Is there like, you know what? I really love ticks. Leeches are my second favorite critter.
No,
Who are those
no.
people?
And being in Connecticut, the
Lyme
origin,
disease.
Lyme disease. That ticks are friggin' scary.
I
Yeah,
think the
we used to
worst
get them all the
thing.
time. We were kids on the farm.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing is that, like, I remember one time I was helping a relative with doing leaves, and I had to move him, and I didn't think really much of it. I was wearing layers and whatnot, and I went home and I found a tick on me, and like I was like, what the hell? It's because I thought it was just like debris or something. So I got it off, but but you're supposed to burn it off because you're not supposed to like
Or
peel it off because
well, yeah, if you pull it off, like growing up on a farm, I'm right there with you, Carrie. Like, we would get ticks all the time, so you got to be
right.
careful with it.
And with this,
Yeah, if you don't pull it, if you don't get the head, like the head
Right.
can pop up. So
No.
my dad had a trick with using Vaseline.
Oh, okay.
You cover it with Vaseline, and it can't breathe, so it backs out.
Oh, cool.
oh,
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, good safety tip. Everybody, I
My
think
dad.
we all, because
much
Oh,
I
better
was,
than fire with my hair.
yeah,
oh, well, yeah. Well, I was going to mention that my dad was definitely not one for safety because, like, if
No shit.
your father, no.
uh, there's old farm trick he used to use, like if the tractor tire came off its base there,
Mm-hmm.
how to get a tire back on. Um, uh, he would get the tire in place and spray a bunch of WD-40 and then ignite it, and it like snaps right back into place. Like the explosion like pops it back in.
Was your father bored as a child? I just feel like he's just has a lot of alternatives that, as a person, I would be concerned. Like if I was a safety conductor, I would be like, yeah, we're going to give you a C.
It was a different time. I mean, my dad was born in, I think, like 32.
Are you sure he isn't, raised him a bar
My
since he
grandma
was
was born.
23? No, I just, Leo, I'm just saying, because like you tell these stories and I'm like, this can't be real. And then you're like, no, this literally happened. And I was like, oh boy, oh my. But it's okay because there were things my grandfather would do or tell me about. And I was like, how did we make it this far? You guys were just amazingly reckless.
Yeah.
Like,
My,
how?
my mom has stories from her mom from the Spanish flu up in Canada, where like they would,
Mhm.
Ooh,
just like Monty Python, just somebody going down the road with a cart, bring out your dead, to, you know, your weekly dead is, yeah, pretty fucked up.
Right. Great,
But
great reference.
yeah, uh, before I
Speaking
guess
of,
pop on, well,
yes. Question: has anybody seen anything in the movie theaters lately?
dun, 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 dun. No.
no,
Okay, I just didn't know if any of you actually saw anything
no.
in the theaters recently.
They just announced today that Joker is they're rushing it to home media.
Wow,
So yeah, so I think it's less than a month after the theater release. It's going to be on
that's
home.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Well,
I'm No, I'm sure Joaquin and Lady Gaga did their best. You know,
Yeah,
it,
but I
it,
mean, you have Todd Phillips, which I believe he mentioned, like he doesn't read the comics. They
I mean, Leo,
Oh,
sometimes that works in their favor and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I remember the guy who did the original It in the 80s. I don't think he really read a lot of the original book. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well,
So, and he still did a decent job. Sometimes it's good, but then sometimes, like you said, you have to have
yeah,
that.
yeah, but the whole
No.
thing, he's they're talking about is like a big fu for anybody that liked the first movie. That idolized the Joker. Like nobody. Yeah, some people idolize the Joker, but you know, yeah, I don't know.
I,
Let's talk about Batman though.
yeah, Absolute
Mm.
Batman was a solid start to the Absolute universe, in
Oh,
my opinion.
fucking yeah.
Yeah, and I'm so and
That's
again, I just need to say this, Leo. Like you have like 7 variants and whatnot. I went to my LCS and put in an order for a second printing,
Yep.
which I've learned is already out. They're already working on a
ooh,
third printing.
mhm.
Oh, I thought the second printing was coming out end of the month.
Yeah, but they've already sold out the second printing.
Oh, already sold out.
Yeah, they're already getting a
Mhm.
Well,
third printing ready.
I don't know if you
So
saw this. I got the trash can from San Diego Comic Con.
nice,
Really
very nice.
Yeah.
nice.
But yeah, so point being is, I thought it was really good. I thought it was very solid. You know, the artwork. Um, Again, like I'm very excited about Absolute. I already went to my LCS recently. Um, I already put in for Absolute Wonder Woman, and my guy at my LCS told me that he's already read because he's very in tune with the comic industry. He said he's already read. He said that Wonder Woman is among one of the best comics of the year.
Really?
Yeah, he said it's that good. So,
I
you know,
mean,
we should definitely try to get some of those people on the show.
Yep.
Just
Totally.
get
why?
them, you know.
Aren't,
Carrie, have you read the first issue?
yes, I have.
What did you think?
I was really impressed. Like I was not expecting any of the things that were there. And then I was just like, oh, but and like trying to link everybody together and how they worked. It was kind of like, holy
And
crap. Okay.
and Carrie, and not to discredit you, but you're not, I mean, you don't mind Batman, but you're not like the biggest Batman fan. For you to say that is a lot.
Yeah. I don't, I like Batman. I just don't have as much time to read Batman as I do all the horror
Other,
comics out there, but he's dark enough that I enjoy that side, but I don't, it's weird because I like Batman better when it's just Batman. Like I'm
mhm,
not a big let's have him
Bat
hanging out with
family.
JLA. Nah, Bat
Mhm.
hanging out thing isn't really like I like gloomy, lurking, soaking wet gargoyle Batman. That's who I like.
Okay, I was with you up to soaking wet. I don't need to know that. So,
Well,
um,
you know that one with that
I
one
know.
statue or that one picture of him sitting there like in the rain. Yeah,
No, I know. I know.
that one.
I'm sorry, Carrie. I'm sorry. I just had to.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, but yeah. So it was a solid first issue. You definitely can see the differences in this universe. You know, um, I really liked the way that Scott Snyder did his narrative. It was a very clever way to explain things in a way that didn't feel like, oh, here we go. Because sometimes I feel like the internal monologue stuff gets a little old. But it was interesting the way that he would describe the scenarios and describe the differences. And they were very subtle. Like I actually had to reread it twice because I was like, I wanted to make sure I caught all of them. But it was just very good, you
Yep.
know. And then this Batman, I mean, God, he's terrifying. He is so brolic. Like,
Yeah.
good
Well,
Lord.
even the villains, you know, the I mean, right off the bat, I mean, we don't want to spoil anything, but
Please
it's
don't. Yeah,
yeah.
Leo. You know what? I think we've shown enough. Let's close it for now.
Well, I just wanted to come back to this. I love how they subverted expectations with this, because you started off and you got this character that's, you know, training, and you think is Bruce, and it turns out not to be Bruce. Like,
Yeah, you know, it was very much I feel it was kind of spoofing the training that he did, you know, the training that we saw in year one, remember?
exactly. Yep. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. It was like, you know, we're going to take year one and then just spin it. Like, this
Flip it.
is not, just blatantly tell us this is not year one.
Right. And then, you know, and then establishing the first villain is a very, very violent Black Mask, you know, and whatnot. It was just, again, much, I think, honestly, for me, 4.5 stars in terms of the book, like a solid, very solid introduction to this new world, you know?
Yep.
And I think Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta should be very proud of themselves, you know. And I'm looking forward to you know what the second issue, because the second issue is coming out next month.
Yep.
Around just the time the second printing will be available. So that's gonna be great, you know.
A couple weeks after the second printing is available, I believe October 30th, and then
Cool.
yeah, and then issue 2 is coming out. I believe that's November 13th.
Okay, sounds about right.
Yeah,
but yeah, that, and then we're supposed to. I think we're supposed to get Absolute Superman soon. That's Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval, and then we're supposed to get
Wonder Woman.
yeah, and then we'll get Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman, and I know Carrie is super pumped for that. And trust me, if somebody's gonna make a replica of that sword, Carrie might be like, need you to shut up and subtly take this envelope full of my money. And Carrie, I'm
Yes.
going to be very honest with you. That is definitely, you cannot. I would love to see you go on a plane with that. I, personally speaking, I would love that. I don't think they're going to let you.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you fit that into your seat? Well, it's taller than I am, but sure. Just cut off everybody's legs on the way down. You know.
Yep. The answer is no. Our guest
Can you just
emailed
tape this
me.
to the wing?
So, side note, everybody, our guest just emailed me. He's just running a little late, but he should be here in about 10 minutes. So,
sounds good.
Okay.
So I wanted, I'm getting a little feedback here. It's hard to hear, but coming straight from the void, Jar Jar.
Oh,
Jar Jar,
no.
can you hear us?
Jar.
Okay,
Jar.
Leo, I've seen this hive of wretched scum and villainy. Unfortunately, what happened is that last time I saw Jar, there was unfortunately an incident involving the TVA, and as you could tell, Jar's unique contraband unfortunately got him. I like to call it blinked, but he got ripped to the void, where he's there with some of our wonderful variants of the Deadpool Corps. And I happen to know that captain, that's Captain Wade. He is a liar, a scoundrel, and an all around horrible player of poker. But he sends his love. Yeah, Jar's in the void now.
Well, hopefully he's just visiting. You know, it's you know.
I think we need to send him some supplies. I don't know how we get them to the void, but
Honda Odyssey.
Oh, okay, right,
Yeah.
right. That was right. The Honda
Yeah,
Odyssey.
we send them via Honda Odyssey.
Speaking of, I just want to say I'm already seeing ads for like that is going to be the Christmas present of this year is a copy of Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they know that is going to just print that
Yep.
money.
Oh yeah.
How do I know that? Because I'm going to ask.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I have it on VOD, but I think that deserves like a 4K release. Like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say I'm excited and I'm a little nervous because this weekend is New York Comic Con, which means we are going to have a really big show because that's a see the squirrel is trepidatious because the squirrel knows where the nuts are hidden, and NYCC is a treasure trove of comic book nuts, pun intended.
That reminds me. Hold on. Did you see what was released today?
The Kraken?
No. Hold on.
That's a good guess, Terry. I was almost going to go with that.
Let me find a clearer copy of it. Hold on. This is totally friggin' kick-ass. Large. Come on, open up.
Mm-hmm.
In there. What you got in there?
Mm-hmm.
What you got in there? What you got in there? Where's it? Where's it? Where's it?
I swear, Carrie. I swear to God,
Where is it? Where is it?
Carrie.
Where?
I swear. Sometimes the way you move it, it kind of reminds me of the. Oh, beautiful.
James Gunn released a picture of crypto today.
Oh my God, that's precious.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. Again, I have such faith in that man.
Yep. This
Like,
movie, oh my God, this is gonna.
oh no, Leo, we know. You're there opening night. We know. Even Carrie's mother knew that. Okay.
He's like a floofer too, like not super shaggy, but he's not like all sleek. He's got the floofs.
You know
I
what?
want to hug
Honestly,
him.
Leo, please tell me that's going to be like your cover photo.
Oh yeah, I need to do that.
Oh,
So apparently crypto is inspired by James Gunn's real dog. I guess it was a rescue. Yeah. So it's pictures like this, like for the longest time, like Superman's been like dark. We need Superman dark, and everything we're seeing, and this just nails it. Like this is gonna be, just straight from the heart. This is gonna be
absolutely
a Superman we're gonna fall in love with. This is I can't wait.
Well,
Friggin'
Leo, while I do agree, I'm very much looking forward to Gunn's version. I just think it's also good to come in with moderate expectations. Just because it is a nerd movie, and again, you are a fan, so I've learned walking into Marvel, DC, certain other movies, you got to go in with, good. You can't raise the bar too high, you know. But I will say this is personally speaking, just seeing that gives me that it's got a nice Christopher Reeve feel to it, And like honestly, I got to be honest with you, I'm definitely seeing the all-star Superman kind of. You
That's
guys
right.
can see it too, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right in your brain with, there should be a little bit of a field there and some sunlight, and then he's going to go help a girl out on a building, and everything's going to be happy, and we're going to cry.
Listen, I need to say this.
We're happy.
Carrie, I need to say this. If they have that moment in this movie, I might actually cry. And that is that's considered one of the top 10 best Superman moments ever published.
I thought they mentioned that was gonna be in the movie.
No, they said that they took inspiration from All-Star Superman, but they did not. I haven't seen anything confirming that. But either way, I can't wait. I think this is going to be a really solid. I will say this: if there's one thing I am a little concerned about, and this is just me speaking, that I'm a little trepidatious about, it's that they have a lot of characters for a prequel book, for a prequel movie. Guy Garner, Mr. Terrific. I think Hawk Girl is in there.
Yep.
It's a lot of characters for essentially an early Superman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a little trepidatious about that because we've seen where movies have a lot of characters. The track record for those movies aren't exactly great. So, I mean, again, James Gunn had a ton of characters in Suicide Squad, but that was different because he killed off half of them in literally 20 minutes.
Okay, that
living up
image
living
broke
up
me
there.
a little bit. So
Yeah, but that was beautiful. And I love it when comic creators pay tribute to their animals.
Yeah.
Like I remember, what was it, when Walt Simonson's dog passed away and he made that post about the dog going to Valhalla. I was like, oh my God, why?
Oh.
And I think he drew it too. And I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
It makes me feel bad. That one time I was making jokes to you about when Riley was losing.
Oh.
It's Fred Van Lente, everyone.
Where?
hello.
Oh, Leo. I'm sorry, Leo. I should have mentioned Fred has imposter syndrome. So at any point,
I do.
it might appear like it's not exactly Fred, but it totally is. He gets Fred Van Lente a lot, and then Fred Van Venti. But Starbucks had to talk to him about that one.
My neighbor had to get me this sign just to prove I am who I say I am. So that has helped with the imposter syndrome quite a bit.
There you go. See, so everybody, our guest, writer, normally we do an intro, Fred. So I'm just going to, our guest right here, Amazing Spider-Man, Incredible Hercules, X-Men Noir. I mean,
Other
one of
things.
some Marvel Zombies. Thank you. A lot of other things that I can't mention right now. The one, the only, Fred Van Lente.
Hey,
Ah,
how you guys doing?
Hey,
Right.
Last pages land.
thank you. Well, and like I said, we're glad you could come on. No worries and everything. So glad you're here, Fred. And
Glad to be here.
and then you were like, "Hey, I'll be there in 30 minutes." I'm like, "It's fine. We're just shooting the breeze." There's always things to talk about in comics.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, let's. We were just talking about. This was released today. Did you have a chance to see this?
I have not seen that. Is that a
There's a still from the movie. Yeah, that's him in
James
Crypto.
Gunn have an AI that is generating
No,
image, or is this an actual?
Yeah, this is James
That's
Gunn
real.
released. Yeah, James Gunn released this image today, and
Alright.
apparently the dog is based on his dog, which was a rescue. Or Crypto's based on in the book, or sorry, the movie.
Well, I guess Crypto would literally be a rescue dog, right? That would be.
it's true. It would
Yeah.
be.
Rescue
Yeah.
dog. So.
Same thing with him and Streaky. They're both rescue animals. So,
Streaky
but not.
is Supergirl's cat.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we're not going to talk about anything like that weird space unicorn. We're not talking about that because don't go there. Right, back. So, Fred. So first things first, I just want to say, again, I've met you once or twice at the con and at New York Comic Con, and I just want to say your work is absolutely fantastic. And the one of the books that I tell people about all the time has to be Incredible Hercules.
That is what sort of made me that book. So
yeah. I mean, you and Greg Pak, and then a smattering of collaborators you had. That book, I mean, as a fan of mythology, I just loved what you guys did. I mean, Greg was writing Incredible Hulk, so he set up Hercules and Amadeus Cho, and then you guys just took it and ran, and it was just every issue was fantastic.
Thank you.
You know, and it just always killed me because you guys just wrote Hercules like such a lovable idiot, and it was just absolutely hilarious how much Amadeus Cho would have to bail him out. And I'm just like, oh my.
Well, but in many ways, Amadeus was even more impulsive than Hercules was, right? That's sort of why they
Mhm.
was a team, is they kind of each was the saucer to each other's cup, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys just run him through such gauntlets, and it's funny because I recommended to a few people, and I had this one friend who I showed it to her, and she was like, I want to read all of it, and I gave her all of it. I had all the issues, and she's like, this was amazing. I was like, I don't know, I like gosh. So I just wanted to say I mean, I've loved, Marvel Zombies, all the ones you did, X-Men Noir, all your work on Spider-Man, amazing. But this is top notch,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, no, it's a really very special book, and I didn't really know anything about the Marvel Hercules. Like I had bought, so a fun trivia fact is the first ever Marvel miniseries was this book Bob Layton did called Hercules Prince of Power.
Mm-hmm.
About Hercules in space. So I knew that Hercules, but I didn't really know anything about the Marvel Hercules beyond that. So I just, being the sort of person I am, I just started reading like Euripides, right? So like my impressions of Hercules came from like the old Greek tragedies. That's where a lot of that came from.
I mean, it was just like I said, and it's Leo. I remember when we were talking about this, setting this up, you were really excited to read this. So, like, as a first timer, what did you think, buddy?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It's definitely was a lot more lightheaded than not lightheaded, lighthearted than we've been reading lately. So it was definitely enjoyable. But I do have to say though, just flip it a coin. I've never read Marvel Zombies before, and I read 1 and 3 this week.
Okay.
And oh my god, I absolutely love it. It's extremely fucked up, but it's
Sure.
yeah. I mean, definitely your take on it. Bringing the virus back to the main universe, and yeah, it definitely messed up, but very enjoyable.
So I have to ask Fred, because Marvel Zombies 3, it was very different. So the first two were just Kirkman and Phillips. They were just going through that story, and then you get it, and you're like, we're gonna, and then you. It was just a beautiful tribute to horror, and you used the best character for it. I mean, you used the robot from Next Wave, which was kind of like the series, and we've read it. And just to let you know, Fred, we read it, and the first thing Leo said when he came on the show, because I recommended it, was like, Drew, what the fuck? And I was like, I didn't write it. That was Warren Ellis wrote it. Like Aaron is just fantastic. So you put him in there, and like how did that, did you pitch the idea to them, like Machine Man, Marvel Zombies? Like, how did that come up?
So one of the greatest filmmakers of our, of existence was this guy, Akira Kurosawa.
Right.
And he did a very famous movie, I think it was 1980, called Ron, which is clear, but set in samurai times, right? So it's set in medieval Japan. There's massive battles. And so somebody asked him, there's a very famous shot in Ron with these samurai armies amassing on their horses.
Okay.
And so somebody asked Akira Kurosawa, how'd you come up with the idea for that shot? He said, well, if I'd placed the camera slightly to the left, you would have seen the airport next to the field we were shooting. If I put the camera slightly to the right, you would have seen the Sony factory that was directly right where I was shooting. So a lot of these answers to these kinds of questions, the answer is it's necessity. So Marvel, in their infinite wisdom, decided this is so. one of the things you have to keep in mind about Marvel Zombies 1 and 2 is they sold like hotcakes.
Right.
But I came on at Marvel Zombies 3 right when the Disney stale was starting. So Marvel loved to send me on suicide missions. Incredible Hercules was absolutely a suicide mission. And I started to annoy them eventually because I kept coming back. You know, they're like,
Right.
What the fuck? Why? If someone wants to send you a suicide missions because they don't want you to come back, but I kept coming back, you know. And in fact, Marvel Zombies 3 is without a doubt, according to my bank account, my most successful comic of all time. So people really love that book, and it really is very heartening because they came to me and they said, okay, you can't use Wolverine, you can't use Spider-Man, you can't use Hulk. We won't give you anything that could be made a movie out of.
Right.
Because the top brass was simultaneously pulled by the fact Marvel Zombies made so much money.
Mm-hmm.
But they were terrified a Disney board member's kid would be like, why is Spider-Man eating Aunt May's face in this panel? So they were like, you can't use any characters anyone has ever heard of before.
Right.
And I'm a huge Jack Kirby fan. And I think his Machine Man, which is essentially the last thing he did for Marvel.
Right.
It originated, as many people know, in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
The Stanley Kubrick adaptation that Kirby did.
Right.
And so it was tough because the first 8 issues of Machine Man, the original series from the 70s, was just Jack Kirby writing and drawing.
Right.
And then the last few issues were drawn by Steve Ditko and were edited by a guy named Ralph Macchio.
Right.
Now, Ralph Macchio edited something called the Ultimates line.
Yes, he did.
Which you may have heard of before. And the Ultimates line is, and the Marvel Zombies, as many of you may also know, is a spin-off of the Ultimates line because they first appeared in Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Yes,
so Ralph Macchio was the editor of Marvel Zombies and simultaneously the world's biggest Machine Man fan, and he fucking hated Next Wave. He fucking hated it, like with just the burn of 110,000 suns.
Right.
So I had to get up to Ralph Macchio and he'd be like, "Hey man, here's what we're with Marvel Zombies 3." Because I read Next Wave and I fucking loved it. So
right.
I was in a difficult position. So I was like, hey, man, we're going to make Machine Man a hero again.
Right.
He's not just going to be, let's be honest. I mean, I enjoy Next Wave, but Warren Ellis just wrote Machine. It was Bender, right? I think we all know that, right? Next Wave is Bender. Like Warren Ellis saw Futurama and wrote Machine Man like Bender.
He totally did.
It's
and
not
that's
a bad choice. I'm not criticizing. I'm
No.
saying Ralph Macchio, who loves Machine Man, was we will not use the Next Wave Machine Man. I'm like, but what if, Ralph? Just hear me out. What if we transitioned Machine Man from the Next Wave incarnation to some of the heroic role? And I talked him into it. So.
Oh yeah, good job. You know, no, it was fantastic, and then yeah. No, I mean, Fred, it was fantastic, and then
I like how you're showing the entire comic.
Yeah, no, that's Leo's move. He'll just
it's not pirating, you guys. It's not.
Yeah, you know, it's just like he'll do that. You're just talking, and you're just like, oh, hey, you know that moment. I love that there. There was just really good humor in it, and that's just the thing I loved is just literally. The things you did with Aaron were just fantastic, and now you're right. He is the Marvel. He was being the Marvel Bender because all he just talked about is you know getting paid, beer, and I guess banging Jocasta. You know, so I was like, that's basically Bender. You know, but then like.
I just wanted to say real quick, his one line when he just goes to the zombie universe, and you know you're thinking that you know this is the worst place you can go, and he's like, "You think this is bad? This is robot heaven." I absolutely love that. It was
right. He gets paid to kill fleshy.
I do think that's sort of the appeal of the zombie genre to a certain degree, which is those kinds of antisocial tendencies. Oh, I got to shoot my neighbor. Cool. I hated that fucking guy. You know,
right?
Like there's a lot of like, you know, it's almost all successful fantasy genres are some kind of pent up human need that can exercise itself
Yes.
elsewhere,
Oh yeah, and you saw Aaron do that when he had that moment where he was like, "All right, that's it. I'm gonna be a hero," and all of these undead fucks
Yeah,
are dead.
that's the moment. That's how I sold Ralph on letting me use Machine Man, because he was totally dead set against it.
Right.
But yeah, I think he ended up really coming around.
Absolutely. And was there okay? I have to ask: was there anything that you wanted to do that either Ralph was like no, or you just like, I have to cut this? Like I like this, but it doesn't fit, or like
Not that I can remember. I mean, Marvel Zombies 3 works so well because it's kind of got a very simple idea, which is that you have the reluctant hero who gets kind of sucked in to this situation because the woman he loves is doing it, and so he feels compelled to do it because he has to protect her, and ends up kind of identifying with the people he's trying to save, and so he ends up, the reluctant hero becomes the real hero, right? Which is a beloved trope in all kinds of fiction, So I think that's why it works ultimately.
Yeah, and then
Also,
yeah,
yeah. I was also. I haven't read 2, but compared to 1, it's a more intricate story as well. Like 1,
Sure.
it's like, hey, we're zombies. Why are we zombies? We're just going to eat everything. We're hungry. We're not hungry. It's it's all about them.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, the nihilism is the big appeal of that one, and 2, I would say.
Yeah, totally. Especially more in 2, I would say. Mm-hmm.
Really?
No, yeah, 2 gets really, Leo. You have to remember, by the end of 1, they're the new Galactus. So by 2, they've basically eaten most of the universe.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so you have the nihilism. Like, okay, where do we go from here? So, but fun fact, Fred kind of answered that. Check out Marvel Zombies Return, everyone.
True.
But then,
for some reason, I did Marvel Zombies 3 and Marvel Zombies 4, and the brass were like, "Yeah, you can have Spider-Man and everybody again." All right.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. You had a death in that one that sat with me. How you in Return, one of the villains that saw the Marvel Zombies show up, he did something to one of the Earth's heroes that has sat with me for a long time.
Sandman.
Yes, that
Drawn, I feel like I have to say, by the brilliant Nick Dragata, current artist on Absolute Batman. If you're Absolute Batman,
we were just singing his praise, him and Scott Snyder, because we've all read it and it's just fantastic.
I have one Nick Dragata page on my wall. Take it down for you real quick.
Yes,
we love seeing this story. This is a black and white a Martian. You see Martian Manhunter's head. This is my only DC story that Nick and I did for the holiday special in 2009. So you see that's
wow, that's awesome.
Murder of a you see there's a Christmas tree, right?
Yeah.
Lot, right, where they're selling stuff. Anyway.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Nick's a great.
That's awesome.
Anyway, Nick did the Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh no.
We were just earlier we were talking about Absolute Batman, and his artwork is friggin' amazing.
Game changer.
The best.
Yeah. But and then 3 set up kind of your chapter of the Marvel Zombies, because 3 leads to 4, and 4 is the reunification of a group that Carrie is a big fan of, the Midnight Suns. Carrie's, and then I'm
slightly different than
and then you kind of set up Headpool, because you showed Deadpool, you pulverized him,
right,
and then later on he shows up in that series with Victor Grishler where it's Deadpool and Headpool, and they also end up so kind of.
I was mildly annoyed Marvel gave the Headpool series to somebody who was not me and never bothered to ask me if I should do it. They just
That's not very nice.
Well, Carrie, you'll find if you work for Marvel,
I might
Right,
have
no.
heard a couple of things here and there.
Sorry if I'm,
Oh no, it's fine, Fred.
scary on this podcast, but
It's all good. You can listen. You can say whatever you want. You can curse. We don't care. Whatever, buddy.
hey, but I'm in the credits to Deadpool and Wolverine. They
Oh, nice.
invited me to
I was
the
gonna ask.
screening.
Nice.
So, my name is next to Alex Toth's because of where it belongs. Oh, because of the alphabet. Sorry. Do you guys know why Alex Toth's name is in the credits of Deadpool and Wolverine? What character's first appearance did he draw? We do sometimes fun trivia here on Splash Pages.
Oh, apparently we do. Oh boy.
What Deadpool and Wolverine character did Alex Toth finish Jack Kirby's pencils over?
God damn it.
X-Men 19.
Okay.
Anyone?
Gambit?
I'm drawing a blank, Fred. I'm sorry.
1964, I want to say.
Okay.
Nobody stops the
Juggernaut.
Yes, correct.
Oh.
Juggernaut. Alex
Ha!
Toth.
Got it.
With Jack Kirby, the first appearance, Juggernaut, and Juggernaut is in Deadpool and Wolverine. I did.
Wow. Okay.
Names are next to each other.
Details, everybody. Nice.
I have to apologize.
Here at Splash Pages, we also educate.
We do. I have to apologize. My knowledge is more along the horror comics lines. I do some of the superhero things. I do, but I was born on Halloween. It's not my fault.
Can I pitch my horror comic to you?
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask you questions afterwards too.
So it's out this week. Well, it's out last week. It's from Mad Cave. It's
awesome already.
It's called Murder Kingdom. It's a slasher set in an amusement park in Florida.
Okay.
It's fairy tale themed. I don't think there is one of those right now. This is totally fictional. And someone is killing the employees of this amusement park based on the original gory fairy tales from the Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen. The art's by Chris Ponda. It's a fantastic. The amazing covers are by Paulina Gashino of Powerpuff Girls fame and other terrific comics. And so I strongly suggest, if you like horror comics and or fairy tales and or murder, pick up Murder Kingdom, #1 in stores now.
That sounds right.
I definitely will.
Yeah,
I think we actually did that on the news when it was first announced, because that sounds really familiar. So I think we've promoted it for you. It's just been since it was first announced to when it's now been released. So now I get to type to my LCS real quick when I'm done here and say, could you please add this to my polls? Thank you very much.
Namaste.
And now I need to know, this is something I've been asking. I've been collecting data. There's some people aren't sure whether or not it exists or not. We've had some straight up denials. We've had some stuff. Do you happen to belong to the super secret horror comic writers Tiki Club?
Oh, God.
So I'm not, and I will say this, and I hope this will not deny me membership for all time. I'm not a tiki drink kind of guy. I have a very limited sweet tooth. Like I can't handle like I like booze, but not when it's combined with sugar. So I don't know if I'd want to do it. Right. Is that a horrible thing to say? We have a lovely bar in my neighborhood called Zombie Hut. Excuse me. It's called Zombie Hut. And their specialty is like the Mai Tais, right? The foam and the blue and the vapor.
Yeah.
It's a lovely place, but it's just not my thing. But that's amazing. It sounds like that's more of a West Coast thing.
No, see, everybody denies it, but they all have it's a strange thing. Jason Aaron is into tiki. He's an EC when they just restarted. Brian Azzarello collects tiki mugs. He doesn't actually drink tiki drinks though. He drinks craft beer, so you could get away with that as long as you had a tiki mug of some sort around you. But he denies it exists at all.
That's a wide demographic there. Fair enough.
Yeah, and Colin Bunn, who's down in the Missouri, he also I'm up in Nebraska, so he's in the Ozarks down there, and I
was just in South Dakota until Sunday.
Well, Oh, was that for is it I forgot was it the Sioux City Con, I think?
No,
There
it
was,
was a
or was you
non-comic
just there
thing.
for randomly?
I went to an
Okay.
InfoSec conference in Deadwood called the Wild
Used to
West
fish
Hacker.
there.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
it was lovely. Anyway, I
Mhm.
do comics. Well, I'll come back on the show in May when the comic is out, and we'll talk about it.
Sweet.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So you're not part of the Tiki Club, but you could be maybe. I'm working. Jason told me that he couldn't tell me anything more about it until I became a horror comic writer. So I've got the script going. I got to figure out who to send it to. You know.
Carrie, just make a comic. You're a comics writer. This is, it's not like this. This is a big tent.
Yeah.
We want everyone. Come in.
Yes, I'm already a published author with some other things. It's just changing it to. Oh, Ratatosker appreciates that. He doesn't get very much acknowledgement, so it's just trying to change the format around. Because is that something that I like to ask all the different writers. When you write, do you write differently for every artist, or do you have a specific way that you write your scripts? Depending on material.
That's a great question. I mean, the short answer is no. I mean, a better answer is it's just hard to say because every that's something people say about comics all the time is like, you write to the artist's strengths and stuff, but I just feel like every project's so unique you can't, like just today I'm working on this project. So New York Comic Con here in the city technically it starts on Thursday. For the rest of it just started basically yesterday. And so I had a I don't know if this story will mean anything to anybody, but anyway, so I'm working on a project for the hacker people that was at Deadwood for. And so I had a breakfast meeting. When's the last time you did a breakfast meeting? 8:30 breakfast meeting. I had to get on the fucking subway at 7. It was rough. So, but I'm working with this guy, and so it's weird because he's a different country, and so there's a language barrier. But I thought he was a really young cat, and then I'm talking to I had the breakfast meeting with his boss today, the head of the studio, and actually he's a really old cat, like closer to my age, and it just blew my mind. I was like, you draw like a young person, so that's a very rambling way to say I don't write to the artist, but I want to have communication with the artist. And so this is an odd project, partially because this person is Italian and doesn't really speak English. There's this weird like language barrier. But the bottom line is, and I'm sure you guys have seen, people talk about this in social media, is that the artist is a co-author. The artist is a co-collaborator. The artist is your equal. So ultimately, you write to the artist because you say like, hey, if you have any questions, you want to change anything. Like my attitude about my scripts is, you can change whatever you want as long as it's better than it went down on the page. If I don't think it's better, let you know. I'm not going to keep it to myself. But yeah, so like I feel like people say that when like, are you writing for Bernie Wrightson or David Mazzucchelli? Like, well, I slit my own throat to work with for those people. One of them is dead. Bernie gave me a cigarette in London. We were at the same con together.
Whoa! That's I'm speaking of. I'm working with a project with one of my collaborators. We're doing a small film as a tribute to Bernie.
Lovely dude.
Yeah, and I helped put it together. I was listening to everyone's because my friend interviewed creators who knew him, and they're just talking about him, and he just sounds like the nicest guy in the world. Like
he's the sweetest guy. I was hanging out with him outside on a cafe in London. We were both at the same London con, and his wife is there. And I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day. For 10 years, and so I finally weaned myself early, but it was a horrible bummer for 10 years. I can't believe more people didn't punch me in the face. But he's very cool. Yeah.
When the film's up, I'll send you the link so you could.
Yeah, no, he's a great dude. I love Swamp Thing. My favorite thing he did was his Frankenstein illustration.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Very lived Marvel illustrated line. Oh, yeah. That was good.
When I was working on the project, I told our resident horror instructor, Miss Sanders over there, and I remember I was like, "Oh yeah," no. She looked it up and she was like, "Wow, you." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, man. They're
Nice.
gorgeous." Like you know, he spent years doing that, and it shows, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I did spend an appropriate amount of time admiring it as I went through it too. It was like
yeah,
That's great.
it was
Hey,
like she was doing a
can I ask
research
for a
paper.
slight break?
Oh yeah, do your thing. No rush. Take
3
your time.
minutes. I'll be right
Take your
back.
time. No rush, Fred. Thank you.
Right back.
No rush. Do your thing.
total
Great stuff.
derailment with the Tiki Club again.
God damn. Yeah, I was about to say, like I swear to
I keep
God,
changing the order of the naming of it too.
you
Thinking
know
I
what?
can
I'm
trip them
making.
up.
You know what? I'm gonna have Jenny. I'm gonna reach out to Jenny. I'm gonna have her make a Splash Pages bingo card, and I'm just gonna have it. And you guys say these things. I'm gonna cross it off, and when we hit, I'm like, bingo.
Get Out
Like,
and Next are definitely on your list.
you bring up the Tiki Club.
Where are snakes going to be?
Snakes, and then no, Blue
Leo's
Sky.
dad.
Leo's dad. No, Blue Sky. That's also one. You know,
First editions.
First
if
edition.
you've gotten more than one, you have to get at least like
the free
5.
space is Drew lying down. That's like he's gonna do it every show. And now, because I've been exercising more, I might not.
Ooh.
And we can have when Jar Jar shows off one of his toys or randomly pulls something magical out of the air.
Yep.
And when he sings something better than the rest of us that we all started with. Hi.
We're just talking about doing a show bingo.
Okay.
Because we always just say the same things over and over. So eventually we want to have our people watching. We'll send it to them randomly, and I don't know. We'll see if someone actually gets 4 in a row.
Or we can start a drinking game and then send people to the hospital.
No, Leo. We already have a name for that. That's called Smashed Pages.
Okay? He did it. He's part of it. I knew it.
Gary.
Evidence.
Gary, after the show, man, you gotta keep calm with this conspiracy theory tiki shit. Breathe. Back to the books. Another thing, Fred, that we read was your work on X-Men Noir with Dennis Calero.
Sure.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the first book, right, in that series, or was that Spider-Man?
No, Spider-Man was the first. So we had pitched. So Marvel's first, Timely's first book was called Marvel Mystery Comics. So
right.
And one of the characters that premiered Marvel Mystery Comics #1 were Submariner, Namor, the original Human Torch, and this character Angel, who was this sort of mustachioed detective.
Right.
And so we had pitched the idea of doing and so our pitch to Marvel was, we'll do a murder mystery, and then the readers can write in, and it was sort of interactive, right? So can the readers solve the mystery, right? And there'd be some reward at the end or whatever. But they'd already accepted the Spider-Man Noir pitch.
Okay.
And so they were like, well, could you do that? And I guess because Angel, right, ends up being an X-Men character.
Right.
They're like, you do it, but with do it as a Noir thing. And so my editor, Nate Cosby, was like, well, why don't we do X-Men but with no powers? Which I thought was sort of an interesting concept. And he was also like, he also got very obsessed with X-Men Noir. If you ever notice, there's no hyphen in the X-Men. He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, all right, I don't know what this is. Sure, we won't have a hyphen in X-Men. Great.
Right.
And it was super fun. It was a really fun series. It sold out a bunch of times. We got to do a sequel. It was a fun book.
Yeah.
I had occasion to reread it recently. I was like, this is bad.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting. like especially because, like you said, in that world, there really aren't a lot of superpowers. I mean, Spider-Man Noir is one of the few, and yours, you know,
Right.
they're the X-Men are criminals because their Professor X thinks
Right.
criminality is some sort of evolution.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, they're the again, your idea of the Brotherhood is Magneto and his crew, but they're cops, and I was like, good
Right.
Lord, this is great. And then Dennis Valero,
and Dennis's art sort of perfect for this.
oh, 100%, like just noir to a T. I mean, I remember him doing work with Peter David on X Factor back in the day, and then this, I was like, wow, this really fits. And then you guys came back for was it Mark of Cain, right?
Yeah, I actually kind of like Mark of Cain a little bit more.
So
the original.
The funny thing is, I feel like the Marvel Noir kind of, like, I think the only thing like that kind of went on was Spider-Man. The rest of you guys, and you had X-Men, Spider-Man, Luke Cage.
Well, I mean, X-Men and Spider-Man both had second series. I mean, obviously, and then Nick Cage plays Spider-Man Noir in the Spider-Verse movies, so that was sort of a big plus for them there. I think ultimately, because they didn't have powers, it was a little less attractive to the larger zeitgeist. But I think the comics are super fun. They really hold up well.
Oh yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I think Iron Man Noir, that was Scott Snyder. That was one of his few.
Yeah, Scott wrote me to ask for advice when that first came out, and I first script and stuff.
Did you save those emails? You're like, oh yeah, I was helping Scott Snyder before he was Batman.
Well, in the sense I didn't delete them; they're sitting in my Gmail.
No, yeah, I remember reading that. I was like, wow, this is really good, because I didn't remember Scott doing a lot of Marvel. And then, like, in my library, Iron Man Noir, Scott Snyder. I was like, okay, like, I missed this one.
I think that might have been his first professional comics work.
Yeah, it was something like that. Because I remember, because that was big, and then he did American Vampire, and that was really big because Stephen King was involved, and that helped put him further. And then, of course, when he did Batman for the New 52, then everything was over. That was, boom. And then you also did work on a bunch of Spider-Man, right?
I did. I was the last web head to be hired, and I did a bunch of I did Web of Spider-Man for like a year. Spider-Man was my guy. That was a real bucket list thing. It was very exciting to get to do Spider-Man. But I did so much Spider-Man, I never want to touch Spider-Man again. It was too much Spider-Man. I was like, enough of the Spider-Man.
Because and help me remember, because I think I own these issues. You did a story that had, like, you kind of like reinvented the chameleon a little bit.
That was me. That was my. That's the first one I pitched. It ended up not being the first one I wrote. It still ended up being the first one that got published. And Barry Kitson did the art on that. He's a lovely dude.
Oh yeah, but I just remember that, and I was just like, oh god. Like, again, like, it was Leo and Carrie in the story. You find that the chameleon, who's the Spider-Man villain who can change his face and whatnot, he kidnaps his victims, and he basically holds them hostage, and he takes like a day in their life where he's them, and he's setting things in motion, and then later on he correct me, Fred, if I'm wrong, he dissolves his victims in acid so there's no trace, and then he's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So you would slightly out of order. He dissolves them in acid and then takes over their lives because they don't exist.
Right.
And yeah. So what I was a fan of the pocketbooks reprints. I'm a 70s kid. I know I'm probably older than most people on this call. And so my parents got me the 70s pocketbook reprints of the original Steve Ditko run of Spider-Man. And Chameleon first appears in Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Right.
And what I loved about it was he has no powers in Spider-Man #1. He's just some guy who's a master disguise. And I thought what would be cool would be, can we get a guy with no powers? And ultimately in the 80s and 90s, he took some super soldier serum or whatever, and he could change, which is boring to me. What's much more interesting is he kidnaps people sprays latex on their faces to kill them, and now he has a mask of their faces. He pulls the face off the corpse, dissolves the corpse in acid, and then goes out and it becomes that person.
Right.
And wants to become a better person than that person was. And so he does that to Peter Parker. Obviously, Peter Parker has done many comics since 2009, so we know Chameleon did not kill him. But how that happens is a fun story.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing is because you did because kind of in the vein of Hercules, you did the first issue of they did like a Deadpool 900 series, and then they did the issues backward.
They did the Deadpool team up, yeah.
Yeah, and then you had Deadpool teaming up with Hercules, right?
Right. That was at Axel Alonso's request. That was the editor of the book.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, because I just remember thinking, I was like, wow, this is Wade, and again, and that was the first one after issue 900. So, like, again, like you said, was that another one of your, I hate to say it, your suicide missions? Or like, he can't do it. It's like, no, I got it. Give me a second.
No, it's a great question. I think that it was more like, so, I mean, Marvel's kind of a snake pit of all these different like editors fighting for turf.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it was because of the guy who at the time was in charge was this guy, Ike Perlmutter, who, as you may know, is a big Trumper and was going to be Trump's Secretary of Veterans Affairs and is a real piece of shit. Sorry, can I say that on the air? Anyway, so the problem is when you have a piece of shit as the head of your organization, the shit kind of trickles down like water to everybody. Mm-hmm. So it was a real toxic workplace. And at the time, I don't know, I haven't worked for Marvel since Axel was editor-in-chief. So I think he got moved out like 2018, something like that. So I haven't been there since. So I can't speak for how it was now, for how it is now. But at the time, it was a lot of like weird turf wars. And so I think that when people wanted to try something that was outside of the, accepted, parameters of success, they throw expendable guys like me at it. And so I did keep getting sent on suicide missions, like do Marvel Zombies, but you can't have Spider-Man or Wolverine.
Right.
You do the Incredible Hulk book, but instead it stars Hercules. Oh, okay, that's sure. And so, I kept coming back. So they kept sending me out with crazier assignments. So I think that, I think your perception's totally right. I think that the Deadpool team up was something like that. But I mean, it's a team up book, so it was a different writer of a book. So it was a fairly minor, risk compared to some of the other ones.
Absolutely.
But look, the bottom line is I from the time I was like 8 years old, I was a huge Marvel fan. So getting to write Spider-Man and everything else I did at Marvel was a huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
A huge opportunity. I would not have the career I would have now without Marvels. And some of my best friends I have now are people I met at Marvel. So the bottom line is, even if the institution is shitty,
right,
the institution is nothing but the people who make up it,
Right.
And usually with a big institution like Marvel, you have dozens and dozens of people, and some of them suck and some of them don't. And I was lucky enough to be with and work with a lot of people who didn't suck. And I was very lucky, in that regard. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds pretty fair. I don't know, Carrie. Guys, I feel like I'm talking like so much. Carrie, or do you have any questions?
I believe Carrie had a question. I saw you raise your hand.
Oh, yeah, Carrie.
Oh, yeah. No, it's first. I was gonna say, instead of a suicide mission, that last one sounds more like if you've ever seen the Gary Larson Far Side cartoon where the guy's at the dentist's office and they have like his mouth opened up with all these different things, and they just 1 second, we want to see if this will fit too, and they're like trying to shove a tennis ball and on top of everything. Nice. It was one of those like, we've given you everything else. Let's see if we can wedge this in there.
maybe this will kill him.
But no, we've heard that a lot from and not from everyone who works at the Big Two, but we have heard from members of the Big Two that some people loved it, some people hated it. A lot of it depended on when they worked there and who they worked with, but they did enjoy getting the chance to meet a lot of the other creators, and a lot of people have gone on now, and we are really excited. I particularly am excited because I'm seeing a lot more. For some reason, independent comics seem to go with horror. And I love this. I love seeing all of the new stuff coming out with Distillery and Ghost Machine and Mad Cave. Yeah. And yeah.
Now.
Tiny Onion. All these companies that are coming together and like getting new imprints and stuff and coming out. And you're getting ownership again is what is wonderful. Because I'm sure that you got credit in the Deadpool Wolverine movie, but
yeah,
a lot of people don't get credit for anything they've done. It's like, oh, we'll just call it something else. I remember, wasn't it Howard Mackie and Javier Cesares when they did Ghost Rider? It was like, I mean, we totally stole your design for Danny Ketch, but we're going to name him Johnny Blaze, so no, nothing. You don't get acknowledgement,
it's a double-edged sword. You work for these companies, and Marvel made me, I can't think any other term for it other than comics famous, and so that's how I've been able to do everything after they fired me. So like it's a weird kind of existence, right? Where at the one time, on the one hand, you have this lineage that is, when you were going through it, toxic and weird, but by the same token gives you all the good stuff that came after it. So it's here's how I look at it, which is that at a certain point, I think if you're in a creative job, and again, this is just my personal opinion, your mileage may vary, but you have to love the work, right? I was very lucky. I went to Syracuse University in the early 90s, and we got to see Douglas Adams speak. I don't know if you guys know Douglas
Adams.
Wow.
Guide of the Galaxy. And so he was very famous as being a writer who hated writing. Like he obviously did not produce a whole lot. He did the 3 or 4 or 5 Hitchhiker's books. He did the couple Dirk Gently books. He did some radio plays, he did some radio documentaries, and then he died relatively early, I think in his mid-40s. Yeah. And so it was fascinating hearing him talk about someone who hated writing. And as much as I admire him as I love his work, I guess that's the part I don't really relate to, because you just have to love to, at a certain point. So I think a lot of people become writers or any kind of artist expecting that you're going to get the love that you gave out as a reader, right? You become a writer to get the love, to receive the love you're transmitting out as a reader. And it was a very specific moment where I realized this was not a healthy way to live, and it was about Incredible Hercules, actually. And so Incredible Hercules was beloved by the internet, and so, but then we did this whole series in Incredible Hercules, and Drew, you may know the story I'm talking about. Yep. There was a bit where Amadeus and Hercules have to go rescue Zeus from hell, from Hades.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who just wrote 10 out of 10. And so I was addicted to my reviews at this point, right? Because Incredible Hercules for the first 2 years was just like, love, 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 love. And I was just like, fucking put it in my vein, right? They were like, it was just addictive, right?
Right.
And about this point, this one guy, I can't remember the name of the comic site, I don't think it exists anymore. He just completely turned on us. He was like, this is shit. You guys suck. I hate this. And the whole crux of his review was that Paul Cornell and Leonard Kirk's Captain Britain and MI-13 was being canceled, but our series was continuing. So his whole review was basically a rant about how this other book he liked was being canceled, and so I did the dumbest thing. I did one of the stupidest things I ever did in my career. And so he was like, I don't give so he wrote the review was like, I don't think these people give a shit about their comic anymore, and they're just And clearly the MI13 people care, and these people don't. And so I wrote this guy, and I was like, it's not true. We love you, and we love the book, And he's like, oh, I was pissed off, and I wrote that, and I was like, oh shit. And I sort of realized that, and I looked back at his other reviews, and what you realize is, and this is sort of the disturbing thing, is neither the good reviews nor the bad reviews make any sense, right? You read I've read many good reviews where I'm like, did you read the same book that I did? Like, you're making no fucking sense at all. And what you realize is it's all surface, right? I mean, we before I became a professional writer, I went to English graduate school, and where we were being taught how to be English teachers, right?
Mhm.
And so and this was like 1990, I want to say 1994. And they had this fascinating statistic to me in 1994 that said, studies show people only retain about 60% of what they read. Like on average, we're talking dumb people, smart people, everybody. The other 40%, they just make it up, So what I tell my students, I teach a lot of comics, is the four of us on this call have all seen a movie that everybody we know loves.
Yes.
We're like, that's the biggest fucking piece of shit I've ever seen. What are you fucking talking about? And all four of us on this call love a movie, a comic, a book, whatever it is, that everybody else is like, you're insane. What are you talking about? That's a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
Shut up. I love it. I will broach no abuse of insert title here, and I think that's the 60-40 rule is that it all comes down to your experience of the art, right? Mm-hmm. It's your personal experience. And sometimes we get the 60 and sometimes we get the 40,
Right.
I teach comics. I ask people what are your influences. You could all name the top 5. It's Watchmen, Mouse, Dragon Ball Z. We could all do it One Piece. It's all the same 10 comics that everyone in the world has read.
Right. This
is a Spanish company I work for, so I get a lot of students from Brazil and Italy and just all over the world. And it's all the same Can you get, I think when we all get into this job, we all want to be in that top 10. We all want to be Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns or Mouse or Long Halloween is another thing people say a lot, which is a book I can't stand, but many people love Long Halloween. And you know what? I'm a teacher. I have to accept everyone,
Right.
Even if Tim Sale's art is great, but the rest of it I can deal with that. Anyway, the point being, we're all on our own journeys in this planet, my friends, and you may have had a question at some point, but I clearly have.
No.
And I had my pub trivia.
You're answering it.
No, Fred. Fred, that was a beautiful train of thought, man. So it's just, no, it really was.
In the middle of nowhere.
No, because you're saying it's about preferences, and you're allowed. Everybody's allowed their preferences.
Exactly.
But you don't have a right to look at somebody. Oh, your opinion's wrong.
100%.
You would just have to be like, it's like I always jokingly say, if someone's like, I'm like, listen, that's just your opinion, and I will respect it, even though it's wrong. It's the joking, but at the same time, you see that on the internet. You see people that they'll just spend hours just crapping on.
Like something. Literally today, like literally 3 hours ago, a very good buddy of mine, he was like, and we're big movie buffs, and he was like, I took my wife to see Werner Herzog's Nosferatu. And I nearly stabbed him to death. I was like, all right. Adults, we're both adults.
Mhm.
You can have totally wrong opinions, and I can still like you.
Right. So exactly, no, that's exactly my point. And I like, speaking for myself, and I'm fairly sure these guys, is that I remember I saw something Kevin Smith was talking about. He was like, he was talking about before his stroke, he could list these movies he didn't like and whatnot. But after he had his stroke and he had his breakdown and he built himself back up, he was talking about, like, I don't want to spend that time talking about things
Sure.
I'm not a fan of. I want to spend the time talking about these things
Yeah,
I
I
love.
totally agree.
Yeah, and I saw that and I was like, you know what? That is a really great way, because just like everything, even things you don't like, there's probably something in it that you do. Like, I'm not the greatest fan of Twilight, but I can admit I love the soundtracks because they're all, early
Sure.
2000 emo alternative things. I'm like, oh, great, these are amazing.
But
You
I
know,
think I think that even like Twilight, there's no point in wasting your time. This is the part that I guess I'm trying to nail home is you're not going to waste your time convincing people not to like Twilight. Like, why
right,
bother? Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
if people like it, let them like. Who cares? Let them like it. It's not a problem. Like, let people have joy.
right,
It
exactly. Like,
doesn't hurt you that
yeah,
other people are happy. Like, doesn't make any sense.
Well,
right,
there's also way too much negativity nowadays. It's
Yes.
just, and 90% of it is just, people looking to,
start a
get
fight,
views or clicks or whatever. It's just
or yeah,
smack.
or they're children and they just want to go with, oh, it's my way or the highway. I was like, listen, that works for the monkey bars, but we're adults. Like, you can't always, listen, if somebody wants to duke it out at the monkey bars, it's been a long time, but I'm tall now, so I can reach them. So, hey,
Yeah,
you know,
I think that the sign of strength is allowing that which is not you to exist, right? Like, I just think that, like, if you know it's the old joke, and I do think it's true, is the guys with the littlest dicks have the biggest guns. It's just that simple. It is, if
right,
you are secure in yourself, you don't, it's from the Tao Te Ching, right?
right,
And I'm gonna fuck it up, but it's uh to control others requires power, to control yourself requires strength. I think is ultimately what I'm kind of talking about here.
that sounds
And
right.
I think I fucked up at least one word in that quote, but regardless, it's 3,000 years old. It's really great. You should
You
read it.
did good.
But more to the point, yeah, I just think that there, just when you get old, it's like I'm not going to waste my time making other. That's sort of what's sad about a lot of our current political climate, is it's just a lot of people spending a lot of energy trying to get other people to live the way they want to. They want them to want to live, and it's just
Right,
like why you're not helping yourself. You do realize that, right? You trying to get rid of these books in the library doesn't help you at all, or your kids, or whatever in your fantasy you think that you're
right.
supporting.
And
We've come to a great compromise here on this show, because I really detest a number of popular actors. And I don't go into why exactly, but they're in some movies, and I will, in some cases, give the movies a chance, and I've liked them. But sometimes it's just like, oh no, he's going to be spending too much time in that movie. I'm just going to pass by, but go ahead and enjoy it. And they aren't like, you're a horrible person because you dislike this person. We joke about it a little bit, but we let it go.
But
We're
you
able
don't.
to
But you don't
just
just.
let it
But
go.
Carrie, if you forgive me for reformulating that, you don't just like
Oh
that
yes,
person. You just like the look of that person, right? It's not like you don't know that person. It's the image of them, right?
it's right. Well, it's yeah. I don't. It's not based on like a political. It's not based on a political thing
Well,
or anything like that. It's based upon. It's based upon all of the things that I've seen them in to date, as well as the types of behavior that they exhibit and their acting quality.
now you
It's one of those things
know
where
everything.
most of the time that I watch them, I am not amused. I am not into that kind of type of that. I'm not into them as a human being or their
Now,
acting abilities.
I'm
So,
deeply fascinated. You have to give me at least one name.
Wait, can I?
biggest.
Can
Yes,
can I?
you may.
Nicolas Cage.
But I
Gee,
did watch Renfield, and
you did.
I gave it a good review.
But Fred, you have to understand. I showed her clips of Nick Cage as Ghost Rider, and she's a huge Ghost Rider fan, and she had that look like Brando and The Godfather. She's just watching these clips, and she's that look how they massacred my boy. Like she's
I've used that meme.
dying. She's
Carrie,
just
I've
dying.
never seen the Ghost Rider movies because Nicolas Cage is in them, and I will totally support you in that choice.
Yeah,
I'm pro
talked
Carrie
to
on the
Howard-
Ghost Rider shit. Sorry.
he and I were at Terrificon 2 years ago, and it was like when I got to interview Howard Mackey and talk to Javier Sataris, and he's like, I showed him the movies, and they're like, why would you do that to her? You're a horrible human being. Their faces were as bad as mine.
Yeah, they were just like,
I will tell this story and then I will bounce. This is solely for Carrie from the horror comedy thing.
go for it.
So, a favorite. So, there was a Treasury edition, a Marvel Treasury edition. If you guys know what that is, it's the big ass fucking comic.
Yeah.
And so it was called Spectacular Spider-Man, but it was really a bunch of Marvel team up stories.
Okay.
And one of the team up stories was I remember this because I told the story to, of all people, Darwin Cook.
Wow.
Rest his soul, who was on a panel with me, and he really appreciated it. So
Amazing.
as I'm telling the story, I was like, maybe I should tell the story more. So there's this Ghost Rider villain called the Orb.
Yes.
Right? It would have been an eye helmet. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he first appeared in a Marvel team up issue.
Right.
Where it's Ghost Rider Spider-Man. And Mike Klug, who's known mostly for doing Man Thing, which is my favorite. Great artist. So at one point, Orb takes his eye helmet off his head. And his face, as drawn by Mike Klug, is just fucking horror show of gloopiness. And I, as an 8-year-old, just completely freaked out about this. But there was a Spider-Man X-Men story I love. There's a Spider-Man werewolf story that I love, Werewolf by Night. And I forget what the other one was. But anyway, so I love this comic, but this fucking panel just fucking made me shit my pants every time I looked at it. So what did I do as an 8-year-old? I had some black construction paper. So I cut out, this is a big splash panel, lower right-hand corner of the page. So I cut out the black construction paper and I taped it over the reveal panel of the Orb taking his helmet off, and I'm like, problem solved.
Hey.
There you go.
But so anyway, so just Carrie, I thought you liked that as a horror comics example. I mean, it's not 100% horror comics, it's Spider-Man Ghost Rider.
Thank you. That
scared me so much. I had to censor my own comic with black construction paper and tape.
I appreciate that from you. That
so
is
much,
wonderful.
Fred, thank you. That was fantastic. What a way to end. Thank you so much for coming on. We really
appreciate I apologize for my lateness.
Oh no, listen, you're welcome back anytime. So as we're wrapping up and then you got to go, do you mind maybe just mentioning anything you're working on, and then what's the best way that people can reach you, like social media or things,
So if you can spell my name, Fred Van Lente, I'm on the x.com and the Blue Sky and the Facebook, and it's my Gmail address. It's also my website, fredvanlente.com. And please, guys, if you like fairy tales, amusement parks, and murder, please pick up Murder Kingdom #1, out right now from Mad Cave Studios, from me, Chris Bonda, and great letters by Becca Carey.
Okay, sweet.
Awesome. And one question we always ask everybody is, well, two questions actually before you go.
Okay.
One, are you going to be at any cons recently? You mentioned New York Comic Con you're going to be at. Is that correct?
Yes, and that starts 2 days after we're taping this. And then I'm going to be at Grand Rapids Comic Con in November. And for you Argentinians on the call, I will be at Buenos Aires Comic Con the first weekend in December.
Okay, nice.
Awesome.
Well, safe travels.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And
It's only a 23-hour flight. How bad could it be?
Hey.
and besides writing, what is something that you enjoy? What do you do in your downtime?
I am a baseball obsessive, and I spend far too much time with baseball, TV, and radio. My Mets are currently about to play the Dodgers in Game 3 of the National League Championship Series tomorrow. So,
Another Mets fan.
that goes. But I think the Yankees are beatable this year. We'll see how it goes. I think that either the Dodgers or Mets will beat the Yankees in the World Series. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean,
I'm from Cleveland, and I wish the Guardians have more of a fight against the Yankees, but they're getting their asses kicked right now.
good.
It's 3-0 when I left the bar. It is currently 4-2. All right, they scored some runs. All right,
All right. Well, Fred, the only reason I'm at is my father's a Mets fan, and he's also happens to be a Rangers, a Jets, and a Giants fan. And every year I tell him, he's like, "This is gonna be a year," and I'm like, "Sure, Dad. May the odds be in your favor."
I mean, look, I'm more confident than I was in 2015, but it's baseball. Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see. But again, Fred, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome back anytime. So we'll keep an eye and thank you so much. And also, if there's any links, if you have any Kickstarters or anything that you want to promote, just send our way. We'll make sure to promote them. We're talking to the guy who he had a play on that was funded through a Kickstarter. Ain't that right, King Kirby? So
that's right. And currently it's in audio form from the original cast. If you go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's free. It's
sweet.
Just search King Kirby. It's the original 2014 cast. It's a play about Jack Kirby. People seem to like it. Go check it out.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Fred, and you have a good rest of the night. All right.
You too. And thanks, Gary. Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, and Fred, there's a leave studio button on the bottom. If you click that and go to uploads, we record everybody's audio and video separately. So when you click that, it should prompt you for an uploads, and just let it sit there until it's done.
I understand.
And if you have any problems, Fred, just email me and I can send you a backup.
We can send you a link afterwards if there's any issues.
You guys have so many problems, though. They have nothing to do with that.
No.
Helping with my lower back.
One thing at a time.
I'm just going to add to them and start texting you, and you're just going to be like, "Oh my God, I asked her a question. I gave her an opening, and now she's inundating me."
You open the door.
You all take care.
All right, thanks, Fred.
Have a good night.
Open up.
There we go.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
That was fantastic.
Yes, Tom Dog, I do hate your Nick Cage impression. I hate it a lot. And you do it just to piss me off. So that's part of why I hate it.
And Tom Dog, from one person who does an occasional Nick Cage impression to Carrie, and she hates it. That's high praise. So with that in mind, I think we should wrap it up. So Leo,
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Speaking of back, my back's starting to spaz out. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know how to find me, but more importantly, follow these awesome people. Check out our YouTube page because, we're constantly putting up some new stuff there. Matter of fact, there's a new video going up in about half an hour. And we'll kick it on over to Carrie.
Hey, so when I am not here with these lovely gents and our wonderful guests on Splash Pages, you can find me over at the Owlite Network, where we do all these different things about storytelling. And we also review really bad movies because bad movies are stories too. And they need to be appreciated or really hated. I'm tormenting everybody right now by making them watch Amityville spin-off movies. And last night was Amityville Karen. And it actually received 2 zeros. Anyways, yeah. And we have Drew telling people to get out. But when I'm not doing that, I am writing or editing. But what I'm writing right now Some new Cthulhu mythos stuff, and I have a couple of books that are up right now. If you go to my author page, we are updating some of the more lore from the mythos things and have some new books coming out, including a very fun one that will be, well, I don't actually know if I'm in them yet. I'm going to be submitting for it, but it will be a The Monster I Love based on Cthulhu mythos stuff, and it needs to be rated spicy. So I'm not exactly saying the tentacle prawn stuff going on, but there's going to be some spicy elder god and human interaction going on in this. So yeah,
Oh my.
go read me. Go then give me reviews so you can tell me what I'm doing right or wrong. And Ratatosker would enjoy little airplane bottles of booze so that he can fit them in his paws. That's me. I'm just rabbling at this point. So yeah, let's go to Drew.
Hey, everybody. See
Drew's
Drew over
upside
there.
down.
I am, but
He's
that's
a pat.
fine. I'm Pat. All right, everybody. So I'm laying down, which means it's time to end the show. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. If you need to talk to me, you can look me up on Facebook, Drew Malo. I was supposed to be in 1984 on Instagram, where I post sporadically, but there's always a story. I'm doing a lot. I'm very busy, but I promise you I'll get back to you like within the decade. I can guarantee that. Yeah, pretty much that's basically it.
And next week?
Right, next week. So next week, everybody, we have a stellar guest returning to the show. We had him on this year. We saw him at Terrificon. We must have done something right because he's coming back. The great, legendary Mark Wade will be on. We're definitely going to be talking to him about some of his previous work. We're going to see what we can talk about with the current stuff he's doing with DC. Spoiler alert, Leo was really excited. There's going to be a lot of other great stuff. And plus, that's the show after New York Comic Con. There's going to be a ton of news. So don't miss out.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
With that, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye,
All right.
guys.